myself Divya Pal, and today my topic is the human brain. The human brain, the seat of who we are and what we are, the container of our thoughts and memories. Together, the human brain and the spinal cord constitute the central nervous system of our body, which is responsible for all the control and coordination going on in our body. Thinking, spinal cord receives information through the nerves, and these nerves provide information to think about. Thinking itself is a very complex process and requires complex structures and nerves. These are focused in our brain and help us think. Our brain and the spinal cord receives information from all over our body. When we perform a voluntary action, we firstly think about it. We decide our course of action. So, for any action to occur in this order, there must be a communication between our brain and the spinal cord. This communication is facilitated by the peripheral nervous system, which arises from the cranial nerves, which arise from the spinal nerves, and the brain nerves, which further arise from the spinal cord. This complex process occurs in a complex manner through a complex structure, which is of course our brain. Our brain is divided into three parts: the forebrain, hindbrain, and the midbrain. The forebrain is the part which is mainly responsible for thinking. Forebrain has various receptors from which it receives sensory information. Different parts of the forebrain are responsible for thinking, receiving imaginative information, sights and hearing. And it interprets this information by putting it together with the information received from other receptors and the information that was already available in the brain. Based on all of this, our brain decides our course of action and decides what action we perform. This information then is transported to other motor areas which are responsible for movement in our body. And there are also this kind of information that when our body decides when we are full. There are different parts of brain responsible just for this purpose. And now, let us understand how our brain is protected. You know that our brain is a very delicate structure. It is protected by a cranium skull, and inside this cranial skull is a membrane called meninges, or meningite, some people call it. Do you know that our brain is consisted of 90% of neurons and only 10% of neural glial cells? These neurons lack centrosome, which is responsible for division of cell. It also helps our cells to grow and heal. So if a neuron gets hurt, it cannot heal, which makes our brain very delicate. But there something about this new centrosome is that if it divides, there is the chances of it dividing uncontrollably. And if it divides uncontrollably and mutates, it becomes cancer. So if our brain has 90% of neurons, it will not develop into cancer easily. But you may wonder that brain cancer still exists. So it is because of the neuroglial cells which contain centrosome. I would like to conclude my topic. Thank you everyone.